Before we go in, let's go through this, all right?
That is one of my favorite channels on this platform. Always great content and very relevant. I haven't worked in service industry in that capacity, in years. Um, this made me think of something, seeing that, which is if you have kids and they're not of working age yet, I think it's important that you understand, and this should be a general for everybody. Every teenager should work 2 jobs before they get into another job. One is food of some sort. Now, fast food is one that you maybe should do, but like a sit-down restaurant, you should be either a server, a dishwasher, something in that capacity at that restaurant, that kind of job, because it gives you a view of that side of things. And then retail, you should work retail as a customer or as a counter person. So food service and retail are 2 jobs that every teenager should do for a couple of years to get a view of what it's like. Now, I know everybody's not going to respond the same and that some kids just aren't going to get it. But for me, I worked in an IHOP when I was very young, and I was a dishwasher, and then I ended up doing, as a result of being understaffed there, because most restaurants are understaffed as it is, I ended up being a server as well. So, and that happens. I washed dishes, had my hands in food. Now, we cleaned up, but I was also bringing your food as well. But my job felt very important. I supported a lot of the staff. They supported me. It was really a great job to do. And I know people say kids are different now, and that's fine. But working those 2 particular jobs, you get to see a side of things that you may not if you never worked those jobs. If you are privileged to a point that you never work fast food or retail, you're missing out on a lot. I think it humbles you to a degree to show you how people can be. And so you can figure out how you're going to act in those situations, and also so you understand the restaurant works. I've had grown friends that I'm not friends with anymore that did things like take their butter knife, their knife on the table, and stick it in the cup of water they have and start dinging it around because the server wasn't getting to them fast enough. And I'd have to tell them, like, knock it off. I had a friend who thought it was cute to pick the receipt apart in front of the server because he thought he overpaid. And this is with what was his partner. And it was just really, really bad since they both supported that line of thinking. It is kind of ridiculous, and it wasn't that he was being overcharged in that case. He ordered the appetizer he ordered, but he wanted to argue about it. I think he was, if I remember right, I think he was saying like, it was like mushrooms or something. And he was saying he got 5 and it was supposed to be 6 and he thought they should take it off the bill. Things like that happen. It's ridiculous. But yeah, if you have kids, please urge them to work in the service industry. As my own son would hate me saying, it builds character. As I sound like an old man, but it really does, because it shows you what it's like to work in those environments. If it paid more, I'd be doing dishwashing right now. I love doing dishwashing in those positions. It was great. I felt like I was a part of something, not great, but a part of a team, and I was appreciated for what I was doing, not by management, but by the other people I worked with, because I could help them out, and it was better for everybody overall. And the shift I worked at the time was at an IHOP in a very small town, a church town, and it was on Sundays, and we did unlimited pancakes on those Sundays. It was an IHOP, and I wish I had pictures from those days. Anyway, it was very, very hectic, very busy, and I worked the Sunday morning shift after doing a Saturday night shift most times, so it was a nightmare, but got through it. At the time, the pay was pretty decent because I didn't have much going on. I was very, very young, but yeah. What are your thoughts on that? What jobs do you think kids should work to get an idea of what things are like and to see behind the scenes so they can maybe be better people later on and be more sympathetic to the employees? And how would you deal with that if you were in a restaurant with a friend and that friend was being rude? Would you say something? Would you keep quiet? Would you apologize to the service staff? I always have anytime my friend's been a jerk. So yeah, what are your thoughts, guys?